Welcome, everyone. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to take a few moments this morning to introduce the dignitaries here in the audience, and beginning with Brenda Lynch, the widow of James Lynch, Sheriff Glenn Hill, Supervisor Anderson, Supervisor Victor Angry, Delegate Hala Ayala, Delegate Danica Rome, former Delegate Rich Anderson, former Fire Chief Mary Beth Mikos, Barry Bernard, Chief of Police, Tim Keene, Acting Fire Chief, Chris Martino, the County Executive, and Michelle Roble, the County Attorney. It is hard to believe that 18 years ago, this nation was attacked. Most of us remember exactly where we were when the graphic images of the collapse of the Twin Towers and the destruction at the Pentagon were shown again and again on almost every newscast and channel. It was almost as if we were watching a television show or a movie, but all too quickly we realized the enormity of the destruction and the implications for the future of our nation and our community. You may be seated, by the way. Prince William County lost 22 of its citizens that day. They were family members, they were friends, they were neighbors. They were part of our community. And we must never forget them, their families, and all those who were lost that day. And we remembered this day every year on the day here at this memorial. And although it was perhaps more salient and more raw in the immediate years following the attack, it has never been more important. And every year it becomes more important that we remember this day of our nation's vulnerability to international terrorism, attacks from those who hate our nation and a free government. It's also important to remember the importance of our national defense and all those men and women who serve in that uniform to protect our country on a daily basis. And it's also important to remember the resolve of this nation when it is attacked. When something terrible goes wrong, and how Americans can come together and did come together in the aftermath of that terrible tragedy. Working with a group of community members, we therefore built this memorial to honor those who died that day and to remember. The shape of the reflecting pool and the walkway recall those lost at the Pentagon. The two columns of water represent the thousands of lives lost in the World Trade Center in New York City. The stone that encircles the fountain is Pennsylvania Flagstone, a tribute to those who died in Pennsylvania. The single stone to the left of the plaque is an original limestone block from the collapsed portion of the Pentagon. The flagpole was donated by Ms. Brenda Lynch, widow of James Lynch, who died during the attack at the Pentagon. Across the street behind me is a sculpture made out of steel beams from the World Trade Center. Even after so much destructive damage, the beams still stand. Their presence signifies the resilience the strength, the honor of our nation and those who serve it. They are a reminder to us that we too are a country and a community that are resilient and strong, and we will remember to honor all of those lost that day so that we may never forget. I will now read out the names of our fallen community members whose names are inscribed on the fountain. Sergeant First Class John J. Chatta, United States Army, retired. Petty Officer Third Class Jamie L. Fallon, U.S. Navy. Amelia V. Fields. Lieutenant Colonel Robert J. Himmel, United States Air Force, retired. Sergeant Major Lacey B. Ivory, United States Army. Judith L. Jones. David W. Lachik. James T. Lynch, Jr. Gene E. Malloy. Robert J. Maxwell. Molly L. McKenzie. Craig J. Miller. Diana B. Pedro. Rhonda S. Rasmussen. Edward V. Rowenhorst. Judy Roulette. Donald D. Simmons. Jeff L. Simpson. Cheryl D. Sincar. Chief Information Systems Technician Greg H. Smallwood, United States Navy. Sergeant Major Larry L. Strickland, United States Army. Sandra L. White. Please join me in a moment of silence as we remember all those who gave their lives on that day, and for their families, their friends, and their co-workers that they left behind. We also honor and remember the first responders, those who ran into the face of danger with no thought of what it might mean for their own safety. This is why we have the tolling of the bell. Before there were telephones and radios, fire departments used the telegraph to communicate. When a firefighter died in the line of duty, the fire alarm office, the forerunner of today's 911 call centers, would tap out a special signal, 555. 5 measured dashes and then a pause, 5 measured dashes and then a pause, and then 5 more dashes. This became known as the tolling of the bell. The Fire and Rescue Service continues this honored tradition today. Lieutenant Jeff Hotischel of the Prince William County Fire and Rescue Department will now ring the bell in honor and remembrance of all the victims of 9/11. The passage of time only solidifies their determination to always remember, so we never forget. The playing of taps will end our program. Thank you for coming today. Please feel free to place your flowers on the memorial and stay for a quiet time of reflection. you.